Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and all of you out there in Facebook land and YouTube land. It is Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so you guys know what time it is. It's time for another edition of That's My Story. Tonight we're on episode 18. So I would like to take a moment and just toast my co-hosts real quick. Can we just get a virtual toast real quick?
Here we go.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I go by the name of Jerry Midas Hardison. Joining me, as always, are my phenomenal co-hosts. First, representing the ICATS and the Honeycomb, singer, entertainer, all of that, Miss Shelley Clark White.
Hey.
Also representing the chairman of the board, we have saxophonist, musician, vocalist, as well as producer and arranger, Mr. Ken Knox.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, you guys doing okay this week?
Yeah.
All right.
Excited.
Absolutely, definitely excited. Looking forward to having some laughs. We're gonna do a bit of an abbreviated intro today, but we do encourage you guys to drop your likes, drop your hearts. As usual, let us know where you're chiming in from. I guess for tonight is on a little bit of restricted time, but he was gracious enough to still come by and have a little sit down chat with us. We're also gonna be skipping the Q&A tonight, but there is a part 2 that'll be coming September 17th. Is that correct, guys? September 17th? Yes. All right. Yeah. So go ahead and get situated. Let your friends know what's going on, and we're going to go ahead and get on into it. If you guys are all ready, I'm all ready.
We're all ready.
Hey, we're ready.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, I know you guys have been anticipating this all week, just like we have. We have comedian, actor, singer, author. Also, he does incredible impersonations. He's an original cast member of In Living Color. Also starred in such movies such as Strictly Business, Ace Ventura, Joanna Man. The list goes on. Also was a guest, did guest appearances on Martin, Malcolm and Eddie, The Bernie Mac Show, Mad TV, Everybody Hates Chris. Please help us welcome the super funny, super talented Mr. Tommy Davidson. Make some noise with us at home. Make some noise with the screen.
All right.
Welcome.
Young man, single and free, but experience with love of a real expert. What is it now?
But I'll accept.
But I'll accept.
There it is.
Okay.
A young trainee. Well,
now you have to give me just a little more time.
Yeah, do that.
A little more time.
Oh wow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. He knows it.
Tommy's on it.
That's awesome. Well, Tommy, we welcome
remember
you.
where I was when that song when One Ad came out.
I
think it came out in 70 or 71.
Something
Maybe
like
71. Maybe
71. Yeah, I was next door. We lived in a project, and next door to me, these black girls just had moved in, and they had a record player, and they have all the brand new records. So, they had a lot of roaches too. So I would go to the house, and I would listen to all the hot stuff that came in, and I was there when they brought that home.
Wow.
And I was like, woo! Oh my goodness.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for being
girl,
on the show.
I never expected to ever meet her, but we're best friends,
Absolutely. We want to welcome you. Thank you for being for gracing us with your presence on our show this evening. I know we understand you're on a little bit of a time restraint, but we still thank you for stopping through and having a chat with us.
I thank you guys, man. Thank you guys for working with me, and I'm looking forward to the next one where we can get into the second chapter. And hopefully we can get those questions and answered.
For sure. And like I told you in the Green Room. I grew up a big fan, so this is indeed a pleasure to have a chance to have a chat with you today.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. So we like to ask our guests at the beginning of our show, being that we all are entertainers, and this show was actually birthed out of being on quarantine due to the fact that there's a pandemic going on.
yeah, there seems to be something wrong here.
Yeah, so we just want to ask you, how have you been spending your time during the pandemic? Since, in the entertainment industry, we've had to kind of scale back a little bit to what we're accustomed to normally.
Yeah, I've been spending a lot of time in gratitude. First of all, to have something to fall back on, to have enough of what I need during a time when people don't.
Great point.
And I can actually be in my own home and do some of the things I never was able to do because I worked so much.
Absolutely.
So, and I can develop. I've been developing my stuff. I've been developing my own material. And I've been able to spend a lot more time with my children, my wife, and it's a good time for me to be home.
Yes.
Even though I've been reaching out and doing small shows here and there. It's a good time to just really get a firm feel of how lucky I am.
Right. No, I agree. That's a great perspective to have. That's a great perspective to have. So that's great. Now, you were born in Mississippi, born and raised?
I was born in Greenville, Mississippi. And I left there when I was 18 months. I was found.
Okay, yeah. Tell us about the child.
I was found in a pile of trash by that woman right there. And she found me randomly. Something told her, let me look behind this tire that's on top of this heap of trash.
Wow.
And she saw my foot sticking out of it. When she pulled that trash off from around me, I was unconscious, had contusions in my skull, had been starved, unconscious, didn't know I was alive, was breathing barely. And I had a T-shirt on that said, I will be president in 2-0, and the rest was ripped.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And so she took me to the hospital. I was there for probably 90 days. And I lived.
And how old were you
there? Yeah, I moved from there to Fort Collins, Colorado, where I grew up, and also Laramie, Wyoming.
Wow.
So I was a Midwest boy up until age 5.
And what about your siblings, your brothers and sisters, things like that?
Yeah, my brother and sister were already in place.
Okay.
Because, when she already had 2 kids.
Absolutely.
So I joined them, not knowing I was joining them because it was too young to know. And so that's the only brother and sister that I know.
Wow.
And we grew up together there, and we all moved together to Washington, D.C.
Awesome.
When they broke up as a couple. Because they were married, her and her husband were married and were teachers at Colorado State. They had seen a national address by President Kennedy that said, if you look back on this time in history, will you be able to say that you did something about the race problem in our country?
Awesome.
And that's what took them down to Mississippi.
Okay.
And they said, what we can do is go and help immunize children and maybe help with some voting drives. And so they picked a city in the South to do that.
Okay. Wow.
And
Great.
that's where I was.
Yes. Well, I can tell this is going to be a fascinating show already. Let me just real quick. How old were you when you were found by the dumpster, by the trash or whatnot? How old were you?
18 months.
18 months. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Great.
I got the full story.
Yeah.
I got the full story. She actually, my mother, Barbara Davidson, knew my real mother when she went down for that small period. And so they came back down there to do some work, and she was gone. So my mom went looking for her.
Okay, I see.
She was a young lady. You know what I mean? When she went looking for her, they said, she's gone. But I think she left her younger child at this house. My mother's nosy. She went to this house. There was kids in there doing drugs and drinking, and it was a dilapidated house. And When she left there, is when she got off of the porch. To her right was that pile of trash that she felt that energy.
Okay. Wow. Well, like I said, I know it's going to be a fascinating show. That's great stuff off the top.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So Tommy, big fan, huge fan, especially when you're saying, "Give me just a little more time." Hey man, your stand-up is some of the funniest I've seen. So can you just tell us how you got started?
Yeah. I my friend Howard, that I was friends with since I was 8 years old. I had got a really good job at 18. 18, yeah. I got a really good job as an assistant chef at the Ramada Inn in Virginia, in Crystal City, Virginia. So I called him all happy. You know, he's one of my best friends from way back. And I said, I got me a job, boy, a good job, you know, because I had worked at IHOP and, you know, I was a working boy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Basically, my mother threw me out the house. She said, if you ain't got no job, you can't live here.
Yeah.
So I got back into my house because I got me a job. You know, cheated on my application and everything, you know, because I was 13, but I got me a job. So anyway, he turns to me and he says, "You about the stupidest mother I ever met." Because if I was you, I would be in Hollywood doing movies, TV shows. If I had your talent, I'd have been gone out of here. And I was like, man, get out of my face. You just mad you ain't got no job. You know?
So how old were you then?
I was 18.
18. Okay.
Yeah. So he pressed me like, you know, what you gonna do, man? You gonna stay here? I said, yeah, I got a good job. I'm doing good, man. He said, I got you a job at a strip club in DC. Now it happened to be the worst one ever. It was in the worst part of DC.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, he worked there, his band worked there on the weekend. So he talked the manager into letting me go on stage for 5 minutes.
All right.
Cool.
So he came over my house, took the bus to my house. And as soon as we went out the door to go to the club, this is in February, cold as I don't know what, I radiator bus to my little Datsun B210. So he got right out. The bus came like a miracle. He got right on the bus and said, I'll be back next week. He came back next week. We went down to the club. The manager's waiting on me. You know, he's like, is this him? Because he must have been pestering him to death.
Right.
You know,
Right.
You got 5 minutes. Go ahead. So I look at Howard and I say, well, what do you want me to do? Howard looked at me, man. He said, I don't care what you do, Nick. Just get up there and say something. Just say something.
Yeah.
And from the first time I said something, people laughed.
Oh,
Awesome.
And and fast forward, I'm talking to y'all now. That's how it went.
Yeah.
That's how it went.
wow.
It was like a rocket ship.
I can imagine.
Hey, you were ready though. So, Eddie, still while you were young, you opened up for such acts as Evelyn Champagne King,
That was the key.
Taylor Bill, Freddie Jackson, Kenny G, and Melba Moore,
Yes.
who'll be on our show.
I know. I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that girl, man.
Yeah, man.
I'm a huge Melba Moore fan, boy. Let me tell you, all the way back from Pearly.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how was it opening for these acts?
That way, it was natural. It was natural. It was key in my early success because the word got out that there's this new comedian in DC.
Oh,
So all the promoters, all of the people started coming. You ain't never seen a packed house like that ever,
Awesome.
you know? And one of them started putting me on concerts because I did singing impressions.
okay.
So, you know, I did Lou Rawls, you know, you'll never find ding, 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 ding. A head as big as mine. So I mix the comedy with the singing.
Yeah, nice.
You know what I mean? Lionel Richie, still on down the line because it's funny how the time to go because my wife just broke my nose because she then, you know what I mean? So I do all these impressions that went, and plus I do the singers of the time. Freddie, some things that I like to say worse sometimes get in the way. You know? And so I do these impressions. So he put me on all the shows with artists, singing artists.
Makes sense.
So I'd be able to do comedy and do my music in front of the right audience. So they started taking notice. Freddie Jackson, matter of fact, I saw Freddie Jackson in DC with Melba Moore. He was a background singer.
Wow.
And we met. You know, and he said, and I was a comedian on the show. He said, I got my own album coming out. You should come up to New York and do some background. Well, I ain't know him. You know, I was like, I don't know. So he comes back through DC the next year, and I'm on the show with him.
Okay.
Stuff started happening for me early.
Yeah.
And he remembered me. I was like, remember me at the thing? He was like, yeah. But he told me his thing was going to come out for the summer. I ain't mentioned it because it was a #1 hit. I had a chance to come up to New York and do background. He invited me. Rock Me Tonight had come out, and he was the headliner.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of connections that I made with Patti LaBelle.
Yeah.
PG.
Yeah.
I went with them.
Right.
Before I Live in Color. They were like, you are going to be big.
That's awesome.
Nice, man. So is it around this time that you made the decision to move to LA?
Yeah, that was it got too small for me, DC. So I had won the Apollo, you know, which was real then.
Absolutely.
You know, you'd hardly see Sandman, what's his name? Sandman Struthers. You would hardly see was it Sandman? I forgot Sandman's last name. But you would hardly see him in the real one because everybody
talented, right?
Yeah. He back there with his outfit on and ain't getting no stage time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I lost that to a guy, David Peetson. But in the interim, I was so outstanding or such a standout as a comic that Apollo wanted to sign me to this big contract with them, Percy Sutton and his whole crew. And I got lucky because I met a young attorney who really had stars in his eyes and said, you can do anything you want. You can write your own ticket. You can be a film star. You can be whatever you want to be. He said, I tell you what, if you let me take you to LA for a week and take you around to all the clubs, if you feel good about it, I want to manage you. I was like, a free trip to LA? Sure. I went and went to all the spots. We couldn't get in at all the white clubs, but the Comedy Act Theater was there.
Okay.
And that's the hot spot for every comic that you know, hosted by Robert Williams. And I also went to Marla's Memory Lane. She had a guy named Mohammed. He emceed that, you know. And that's the first time I started even knowing about LA. But I turned it out.
Nice.
I turned it out. Out.
Okay.
We're gonna move back there, and we did.
Nice. Awesome. So is that when you ran into Eddie Murphy?
Yes. Yes. On that run, when I got back, the only place I could play was the Comedy Act Theater. Okay. You know, but Eddie was playing the Comedy Store, Main Room. I mean, Eddie was the hottest thing smoking.
Yeah.
At the time, trust me now. Yeah. And so, you know, I was starting to make some noise in the clubs around. And it was in the Comedy Store basically about 3 years after I hit the deck in town that I ended up on the same stage as Eddie at the Comedy Store, him and Richard Pryor. And I was, you know, they called me and said, you got the main room with when I paid my dues for 3 years to get the main room.
Nice.
So they told me, you were in the main room with Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor. I was like, cool. So, you know, what time do you want me to be there to introduce them and all that, you know? And they were like, no, you were on stage with them. So Friday, there's 2 shows. Eddie Murphy goes on first, you go on second, Pryor goes on third. Then it's the opposite of that, the next show, but you're in the middle. And then you got 2 shows on Saturday with the same order, you know? And I go, damn, And how long am I doing? They said, you're doing 30, Eddie's doing 30, and Pryor's doing 30.
Wow. Nice,
And I
man.
was so hungry back then.
Nice.
And I wasn't really, I was kind of innocent to who feelings I might hurt or whatever. And and it was my shot.
Right.
My shot at the top.
Yeah.
So I promptly kicked their ass.
Well,
That's all right.
I had a lot more weapons.
Hey, what amazing part.
And I was really hungry, you know.
Yeah.
And
that's
Pryor walks over to me when I'm in this little closet. You know, they had the good green room.
Yeah.
Chicks in there, food. You know, Eddie had all the girls back there. They had food, and Pryor is back there, and I'm in this little hovel. There's like a little small closet-looking thing where the other comics hang out.
Right.
And only two can fit in one, you know.
Right.
And so he made his way back to me, and he looked me up and down after that weekend, boy. He shook his head. He said, "Man, you's a funny mother," and walked away.
All right.
I called my mother. I was like, "Mom,
Well, I'll tell you what.
guess what happened?" And she was like, "I told you not to leave because I was thinking about leaving." Shoot.
Mhm.
Well,
It was nice to be out
that's
there.
an amazing start to your career, though. I tell you that much.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. And in that process, I met this young lady, Shelly.
Tommy,
Oh, okay.
Tommy
In this
Cat.
process, I met her because
Tommy Cat.
I had a choice.
That was my next question.
Go ahead, you go ahead.
Yeah.
You.
Living in LA, you know, at that time I was working up there at Paramount Pictures for Eddie, and you come up there bouncing around up there with all that energy, and it was I felt my sworn duty to get the whole department interested in seeing you. And I think was at the Comedy Store that you were performing at. I corralled the whole department, and I said, "Let's spread the buzz. Let's all go up. We're gonna watch Tommy." And right after that, in a way, right after that, you were cast in Paramount Pictures, Eddie's production there, the Coming to America.
Yeah, Mark McCarthy. Was it McCarthy?
First of all, I want to thank Mark. He really worked really hard. Oh, there he is. I want to thank Mark hard. He worked really hard trying to get that thing off the ground. You know, we didn't have much support, but that's okay. But maybe we can thank Mark in person.
McClafferty.
Hey, how are you?
Where are
Mark!
Tommy,
Oh my God!
it's good. Hey, I hope we've surprised you. That's great. That is good.
I love glad to see you.
It is good to see
thought
you.
You're Coming to Americas, and I was like, "Where's Mark?" Because man, I gotta thank you right now because
That's right.
you're the one that chose me. You made sure I got the lead. You casted people around me that really helped me.
You had some good people, but you deserved it. Believe me.
I'm so glad I get a physical chance to tell you thank you.
Well, thank you, Tommy. Honestly, and by the way, I'm not only honored to be here for you, but to meet everyone. I mean, I feel like I should be interviewing everyone here. You're so talented and wonderful, and I really have been listening in and hearing the story of you as a young man. I knew you were from D.C., you know, because I grew up in Wilmington, Delaware, right up the road near Philadelphia. And, you know, I remember that's the first thing we kind of bonded on, the fact that you were from D.C., you know, and I had
Mark, please.
my family, some of them were from Bethesda, you know, probably went to school, probably maybe at the same place you did, but I'm honored to be here and thank you. But you believe me, we went out to see Tommy at Shelley's urging. Right away, you blew us all away on that stage. What you did. I mean, it was really. You see people when they're and you see people, you know, that really you see right away. You know, they know what to talk about. They relate to people. They tell personal stories, and I think your ability to translate a lot of your life to the people was wonderful. And we had to get you. We went back to Paramount the next day, and I remember having conversations with CBS who had bought the pilot. And of course, Eddie was on board right away. Tommy's the guy. Let's go for him.
Right.
And
Right.
And the rest, was really wonderful, with the exception of, it was the first, I think the very first show that we did as a company, with Eddie and Paramount. I had worked at Paramount years before, with Miller, Milkus, and Boyette, who went on to do a lot of famous television shows and all. And I had been working with another fellow, over at the Fox lot, who did a lot of drama, and I got a call to work with Eddie, and I met Eddie in Detroit, and we traveled from Detroit to Chicago, and 3 days later, I was exhausted, had to get on a plane to go back, but you were the first really person that we identified as the guy to work with, and the one thing I feel bad about is we ended up with a writer, and sometimes at the time there were only 3 networks, and it wasn't like it is now where we could take the show and do 10 different places, and if we didn't like the writer that wanted us to assign to the show, we could say, well, fine, we'll see you later. It was 1 of 3 places,
somewhere else.
Yeah. So it was great, and you really delivered. I'm sorry that the writer we had assigned to the project, who came as a network approved writer because he had done shows.
One of those things, yeah.
I feel like we really let you down. We really let you down because it was.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Within the context of what was going on.
Yeah.
What the networks don't give you, the production companies, is they don't give you an opportunity to produce the show the whole way. Now that I know the business, the whole way through, pick the right writer, and this, because Paramount has contracts with showrunners.
Exactly. They do.
And they fulfill a contract with them whether they're a mix or not.
Right.
So the best shot you guys had was this, because your arms were tied.
Right.
Because you were there to do shows for Eddie's company.
Absolutely.
So in order to procure that show, you had to work with the writer. You knew you had me,
right.
And so what you see is actually a really good pilot. What you see is you see
it really
this individual.
It was great.
I think if you had a writer who understood all about you, everything, and had sat down with you and said, Tommy, like we're doing here today, all of us, and finding out about, okay, tell me about your upbringing, tell me about you. I think we could have brought a lot more of you to the show. And really, the funny thing was, you were doing a show obviously based on a very famous movie, so it was harder on you than perhaps anyone, to do that. But I think we would have been better off had the writer understood you and your comedy and your life, and we would have been able to deliver for you, and people would have said, that guy is really terrific. But the network really didn't give us that chance, which I'm sorry for,
The one thing that happened that was great, Mark, is that you hired me to be Tommy's dialogue coach. Right?
We did.
So
we did.
After that, Tommy sort of made me his personal assistant. But he was coming up to the house every night. We were running lines. And I wanted to thank you for that introduction to him. But I also want to thank you for found out that you were the former campaign director for Joe Biden. And so
what?
Yeah, before I moved to Hollywood, I was working for George McGovern, in his 72. It's probably before all of your time. I'm sorry about that, but I was working with George McGovern, traveling around to different states, Milwaukee and New Jersey, and they put me in charge of running parts each county and things like that. And I went back to the convention that year, which was held in Miami. And I grew up in Delaware, as I said, and in college, I was president of the student body at the UD during Vietnam and all that took place with Vietnam. And Joe and his brother kind of knew who I was. And when I saw them in a room with happened to be with a writer from the Washington Post, and they asked me if I'd come back to Delaware and become campaign director for Joe's initial campaign, which I was thrilled to do.
Thank you.
And I'm so happy. Believe me, I'm so pleased. I don't know how you feel about him personally, but he's a terrific man and a nice man and a humble man. And I think he would be good for our country. So I wish him the best and hope he succeeds, because God knows I believe we really need him. I do. So.
Yeah. Honestly, there was no mistakes. Everything happened for a reason, and you guys knew that I was the guy for that, and it was the choice of the network to take a chance on this show, because like ABC, making sure that Roseanne, making sure that Ted Danson, making sure that Robin Williams, making sure that they had enough time to nurture their show and become a hit for them.
Right.
That is true.
We gave them what they needed. Mark, you gave them me.
Yeah, we did. And then you went on and had such great success. I mean, believe me, we knew what we had. We knew what we had. We really did.
We still have it.
Yeah. I know that.
In this world, to be right here talking to each other right now, gives us the future unlimited, as long as we know this is the last thing we have until tomorrow.
That's for sure. That is for sure.
The reason that came out of my collaboration with you and Shelly was watching you guys in the business, because I came into that business not knowing it. But then, Mark, every day you come in with a crisp white shirt on. Man,
I haven't lost it yet.
Man, you ran that office, and you're just a guy who's earning a check, making a living. Shelly, I had no idea Shelly was married to Verdine.
Yeah.
Shelly is holding it down for her husband. You know what I mean? She's got a kid of her own.
Right.
We're all together paying our bills.
Right.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's all about, to be able to get here.
Well, it was a beautiful time. Believe me, I look back at those days, and I worked with Eddie close to 8 years, and they really were some of the best times of my life. It was a beautiful time. And I must say, he was a terrific guy to work for. I loved working with Eddie.
Dude,
Eddie, he was straightforward with me, and always, when I went to Eddie and I needed something, Eddie was there, and it was a pleasure really to work there, and I look back, as I say, very, very fondly on everything, So
it was a great time. It was a great time. You guys also have men.
Well, we had a good time. We had a great staff. There was Shelly and Clint and Mark, who grew up with Eddie, and together we all decided, like, hey, we're going to do this together, and we did, and we had a lot of success.
Absolutely.
Don't forget Fruity. Yeah, and Ray Jr.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Hey, I don't want to dominate your interview.
No.
Yeah, we're gonna
we're gonna pass it to you, Midas. But
go ahead, y'all. Go ahead. What's up, Mark?
Before we let you go, tell everybody what you called me every day for 5 years.
Shelly Verdine Clark White, and I greet her every day. Shelly Verdine Clark White, how you doing today? And I still call her that every moment. Shelly Verdine Clark White. And I love, Verdine's a great man too, and a wonderful person. I love having my friendship with Shelly and Verdine.
Love you, Mark.
Thank you,
through.
Stay in touch.
All the best. Peace.
Shelly, yeah.
All right, see you.
All right.
All right. Tommy, we know you're on a bit of a time restriction, a time constraint, I should say, due to having another obligation after you leave here, but we're going to try to get into a few more things.
I'm here. Yeah.
Now, you also auditioned for A Different World at one point. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's when I was about to go home. You know, because with A Different World, I believe A Different World came after Coming to America.
Okay.
And so between that time, this was the biggest show there could possibly be. Because Cosby was on the air and was the king of NBC.
Mm-hmm.
So, and plus, Spike had lit the fire in film. True. So what happened was now hip hop is starting to emerge in a new Hollywood.
That's true.
So we're starting to get a convergence of Black college in Hollywood and their influence.
Right.
So what better situation could I be in than be the lead in a sitcom about a Black college, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On NBC, following the #1 show.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I did everything I could. I went in there, casted. I busted my butt. It came down to me, Alphonse Ribeiro, and Kadeem Hardison.
Wow.
Then I came back. Alphonse wasn't there. It was just me and Kadeem. And so we went in and out of the room. Finally, when Kadeem went back in the room, everybody started yelling and hollering and screaming and hugging him. And I had to guess. I guess I didn't get the part.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? And I took the daggone bus home.
Mm.
You know, so that was like, I was like, man, I forget about all this, you know?
Yeah, but that's
back home. I had a good job. I had 2 cars. It was like, I don't know about this.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah. Now,
and that's when In Living Color came. So you never know.
Yeah.
You never know about this.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
when you think I knew, I ain't know nothing.
Right. So
you
what was
what's next? You can't get what's next if you're going to be the one knowing what's next. Because if you put it just to me, I ain't got enough. You know, I ain't got enough scope.
I feel you. So is that what was in the mailbox when you got back home after that audition?
$20. My mother had left me $20 and in an envelope.
Yeah.
And and in her note, she wrote, I know you need it. And don't leave. Because you know I was planning on leaving.
Yeah.
Well, and so and it was both. I needed the 20, you know, to get to work for a week.
20 was like 100 then, right?
Yeah, to get to work for a week, I needed that 20.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
To get to work.
Yeah.
And so I just really went hard at stand-up, and I just retooled myself and just said, now it's all about stand-up comedy. So I started working every single night at all of these clubs, taking advantage of it. And I would get paid at one club in the Valley. It was called the boy, I'm gonna forget the name of the club, LA Cabaret, and it was in Encino. And my job was actually down the street in Encino, in Topanga Canyon.
Okay.
So I got this job, and at night I can go for the whole weekend. They used to let me off early on Friday so I can be at the club. So I'd work Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I do like 2 shows Friday, 3 shows Saturday, 2 shows Sunday. So when that salary that I got matched what I was getting at the deli, I quit. And I just did comedy. And now I was a professional comedian, paying my own bills.
Wow.
So in the process of that, I caught wind of this new show that's coming. And I didn't want to go through that audition process no more.
Right, I understand.
It hurt too bad.
Well, going back to the money in the mailbox, I mean, that sounds like something that my mother would do. So we definitely got to thank God for our mothers. I shout out to my mom that's watching. She's usually on every week. So as you say, you only get one. So you got to be thankful for your mom. You know?
Yeah, man. And the Wayans lost their mom. Father's Day.
Okay.
And I know she was an integral part of their lives. You know, so I feel for them the same. Last when I lost mine. You know, because they're a veritable family. So you know, my heart goes out to them, and just to just to make sure that there's a chip of prayer going around for the people that we care about.
Mm-hmm.
Saying something about it, they don't hurt nothing.
That's true. Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
So,
Wow.
so Tommy, I know you remember when you were coming up to the house every night rehearsing lines for Coming to America. You, me, Verdine, I think it was Paul. Was Paul Bates up there sometime with us? We are.
Look at little Miss Barbie. Go ahead.
We had pizza, and we was up there till 11 or 12 o'clock at night, you know, rehearsing lines. But
Yes, ma'am.
one night, you came with, I think it must have been a VHS, and you said, I got something I want to show y'all. And you put this VHS in, and it was comedy skits with you and people I didn't know. There were some fly girl dancers, and
Oh wow.
Right.
you said, this is a workshop that I'm working on, and wait, what do you guys think? You think it could be something? And Verdine said, oh my God, what kind of show is this? I mean, it was outrageous. It was all of that, you know, the Wrath of Farrakhan was all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And how soon thereafter did that show actually turn into a show? Because it was just a workshop when you showed us.
Yeah, that was the in between time that I was telling you that 6 months.
Right.
We didn't know if the show was going to be nothing.
Okay.
You see,
We got the first look. At
you sure did.
Yep.
You sure did. And a quick inside story on that is Fox wasn't going to do the show, so Keenan released that tape to all the other networks, and they started putting up bids for the show. And Fox looked like a genius because they said, "No, that's our show. We're airing it."
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that's how it was born.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
And here I am. Hold on. Here I am at Verdine White's house. Okay. Now this is someone who my whole heart, spirit, and mind developed from the music of Earth, Wind, and Fire. You see? So here I am in the presence of what brought me to it. You see? So I remember when all the albums came out and what all the albums symbolized. You see?
Absolutely.
So you know there was this paint a pretty smile each day. Love it is a blessing, yeah. Never let it fade away. It's all about love, yeah. Right? Talking to yourself is fine. Makes you feel much better. Boy, the way you draw the line, yeah.
All right.
Going in.
Rather fall in love one day. Truly as you need it. Pretty smile will always sing. Yeah. Right.
Yes, indeed.
And then he goes on to say, we studied all kinds of sciences, astrologies, and mysticism, world religion, and so forth. You dig?
Yes,
but
indeed.
like coming from a hit place, all those things help because they help you improve your inner self. Have mercy.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
we're trying to tell you, you learn all the beauty inside you.
Yeah.
Like the trees and the birds, and if there ain't no beauty, you gotta look for beauty.
You gotta find that beauty.
You gotta pick some, right?
Have mercy. Listen to
it.
Feeling, come on. Feeling, yeah.
You sound just like him.
Tommy, Tommy, you got somewhere to be in a little bit now.
I know, right?
Hey,
I gotta
you know what it's gonna be now.
Yeah. But we're gonna wait.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
All right, Midas.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So
You forget all about that.
I know.
Yeah.
all right. So Tommy, let me say this.
Wow.
Let me say this, Tommy. You have a lot of energy, man.
Man.
I mean, when you were doing your skits and stuff like that, did you have to work out and keep your breathing and stuff together? How was that?
Born for it.
Born
For this. Like, you put a basketball in Jordan's hand.
Yeah.
You put a football in whose hand? Mahomes or
Right.
Wilson, Russell Wilson.
Right.
You know, you put me on a stage, no
Yeah.
matter what stage that is. You give Savion a pair of tap shoes. You know, you put People Bryson behind the mic.
Mm.
You put me on a stage.
Yeah.
You know, I've always been known as a natural, because
Absolutely.
even as a child, they would take a spoon, a
Silver
4-year-old, put tinfoil on the top of it, around it, lift me up on the table, and I'd do Aretha Franklin. I knew all the dances. I knew how to do the pony, the boogaloo.
Yeah.
You know, Damn Out, I'm Black and I'm Proud. Every hit that was out, I could sing. I could sing before I could talk.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well,
So I consider myself a natural, and then I had to really learn a lot of technique to add to that.
okay.
Yeah.
Not an athlete would add fundamentals.
Okay. Hey,
Like,
so
for lack of a better example, or a good example, Shelly, you ain't here, but Verdine's a great bass player, but because he works so hard at being a bass player and knowing everything there is to know
Right.
what that instrument can do, he flew himself.
That's
You
awesome.
see? And it's the same rudiment. The same rudiment just works across the board.
Yeah.
You know, us as Black folks, we're born with that.
Right.
Once we find that talent, we're going to excel.
You're a boxer and karate. You have energy for all of it.
All of
Yeah,
it.
I got into martial arts when I was really, really young, and that kind of was a natural for me. I got my ass whipped a lot, but you know,
That's all right.
yeah, but
You know, we're winding
that's where
down.
that came from.
We're winding
Yeah.
down the show.
Right.
Yeah.
So Tommy, where can we find you or your social media links?
I'm the real Tommy Cat on IG. That'll lead to the rest of my links. I don't really get on Facebook that much.
Right.
It reminds me of the bathroom stall. Yeah, anybody can write something and everybody has to read it.
Yeah. No doubt. No doubt.
This is on Amazon now,
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
and that'll go over
Check
the.
book out.
We got all the links up. There's all the
Yeah.
links.
There it is.
Check the book out, folks.
We got the book. We got the
Chapters as I need to do.
Living in Color, Tommy's book.
Yep.
Everybody go get it. I read it in 3 hours and almost went blind. but it's a great read. It's a great read.
Yeah. Definitely.
There you
There
go.
we go.
There you
Nice.
go.
Nice.
It's-
Fantastic.
well, we're at the time of the show where
Okay.
we're supposed to remind everybody to tune in next week, and we are going to have the fabulous, amazing guitarist.
Yeah.
Look at you, Eric Rice.
Hey, Bryce. Yeah.
Former guitar player with Chaka Khan, Stephanie Mills, the Clark sisters,
Yeah.
Fred Hammond. Who'd I leave out, Ken?
Oh,
That's a lot.
that's everybody.
That's a lot
Aaliyah.
right there.
Yeah, I throw Aaliyah in there.
And,
Yeah.
and we have to remind you to come over to Celebrity Shoutouts and click on one of the celebrities and let us do a shout out for you. We'll shout out anything you want. You want to divorce somebody, we'll shout that out for you.
Uh-oh. Lord.
You don't even have to say it. Let us handle it.
There you go. Nice.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are omitting our Q&A portion of the show tonight. Tommy has another engagement to get to in just a little bit, but we will be doing part 2 September 17th. So make sure you mark your calendars to join us for part 2 on September 17th. Tommy, we may have to get you on our celebrity shoutouts website.
Tommy Cat. Tommy
Also,
Cat.
I don't have no problem with that. Can I ask you guys a question?
Sure.
Yeah.
If it takes a couple of other chapters to finish this, can we do it?
As many as you like. What about
Yeah.
that?
Absolutely.
What
Because
about
because there's the
So
thing
much.
about the book is it's so multifaceted,
Oh, I know.
and it covers so much of the business and so
I
much
know.
that it's only going to trigger a whole lot of integration,
Yeah,
and that would be good for me.
absolutely.
You know,
Okay.
Absolutely. We're here for you.
We're done when we're done.
Yes,
That's
indeed.
right.
Yes,
That's right.
indeed.
Many times as we need to.
Yeah, and before we let you go, we want to remind all of our viewers to be sure and like our Facebook page as well as our YouTube page.
Yes,
the
absolutely.
official chairman of the board over there on YouTube. Like and subscribe so you can get the content as it is posted. Get it hot out the fish grease, so to speak. You know, and please
Right.
remember to do that. And you can also find us now on Twitter, and that is at @smysthorythat for all of you who have Twitter accounts.
Or is that Instagram? Which one is
No,
that?
that's the Twitter account.
Oh, Twitter. Okay.
At @smysthorythat.
That. Okay.
Yes. And also the Instagram, you under Instagram, there we go. That's My Story Show. So you Twitter
Okay.
and Instagram users, come on over and follow us. We're trying to increase our reach, so to speak. So you guys
There
will
you
know when we have new content, new information for you as well. Any closing words, guys? Before we let Tommy get out of here.
Tommy Cat.
We thank
Yeah.
you. That's his name.
Yeah, that
That's
was
his
my
name,
first
Tommy
production
Cat.
company's name.
I have a request.
Yeah,
You have to do a little bit of one act and give me just a little more time before you leave.
okay. Wanted. Young man single and free. I ain't been that in a long, long time.
All right.
Give me just a little more time.
Yeah.
Wait, okay, I have one. My favorite is Sylvester Stallone.
Oh,
Gotta have that.
You know, that, Shelly, can be done easily because I think one of the reasons why Stallone was so successful is that, you know, with his acting, he was the same thing in every movie. You know what I mean? So like in Rocky, you know, you see his lines were easy. You know, why you looking at my house, Mick? My house stink. All right, stinks, Mick. All right, stinks, Mick. I never asked you for no favor. You want to fight the fight? I'll fight the fight. You won't be there.
You got him down pat.
Wait, one more. Sammy Davis.
Yeah, that's my
That's a
favorite.
classic.
That's my favorite.
First, give me just a little more time, babe. You know, I'd like to just close this thing by saying to all of you, and hold on, Shelly, because the marble got to come out for a second. There you go. I want to build a mountain from a little hill. Want to build a mountain. At least I hope I will. I think Shelly's Yiddish too. I want to build a mountain. Gonna build it high. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I only know I'm gonna try. Wanna build a daydream, as I will someday. And the Lord sends Gabriel to take me away with a fine young son to take my place. I'll build a son on the heaven on earth with a good.
Awesome.
Hold on 1 second to close it. Pow! The marble's out.
Hey Tommy, we're gonna get you to stay on the line. You know, after we roll the credits.
Got it.
If you have a few more minutes to spare.
We got about 2.
Okay, 2 minutes. Listen, ladies and gentlemen at home, we thank you so much. We apologize for an abbreviated version this week, but again, September 17th is the part 2. Thank you guys so much for following us every week. Go over, like, and subscribe.
Shout out to Taz Cole, the producer.
Yes, shout out to Taz. Yes, shout out to
Taz,
our producer.
Yeah.
God bless. Peace, love, you guys. We'll see you next week when we talk to Eric Bryce. And then again, part 2 with Mr. Tommy Davidson, September 17th. God bless you all. That's my story. I think we out of here, folks.
That was so good.
Yeah.